All right. Welcome, one and all, to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am John, and if you could, please hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave a comment. We actually got some this week. And we are here with
Ooh,
Superstar Brian. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm good.
I can tell you're
I'm
ready for
wondering,
the
we
next
got
to final
comments, huh?
weekend. Yeah, right. I know. What a shock. We actually got more subscribers this week. Go figure
All right,
that, right? Yeah.
bring on
There
the
we
hate. Bring on the hate.
Oh, believe me, believe me. I'm fighting it off with a shield. All right. Next to last weekend of the baseball season, then we roll into my favorite time of year, the playoffs. We're looking at, in the American League, we're looking at Toronto's the clear leader for the number one slot. Detroit, even though they're faltering, they are number two, even though they just got swept by the Guardians. Houston, Seattle are battling it out for the West. And Boston is still holding on to that final wild card. What are you thinking about the playoffs as they're starting to get into shape here, Brian?
Uh, I'm 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 thinking, God. Well, as a Red Sox fan, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, oh my God, are they really going to screw me over and get in there and get my hopes up, and then they get swept in the first two games and it's over?
Game and a half. Game and a
Oh,
half ahead of Cleveland. Cleveland's hot right now.
Cleveland's
Okay?
hot. Red Sox
Yep.
are heading to Toronto. It's going to
Yep.
be awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
then they get to play their kryptonite, the Rays.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Where's that
Uh
Rockies series when we need it?
oh boy, yeah, exactly. Why can't we get bag six with them in the back? I'm looking over here at the National League. Milwaukee is leading all of baseball with 94 wins. Philadelphia close behind with 91. The Dodgers are third in the National League with only 85 wins. They actually
What's
have less wins than the Cubs,
Yeah, Dodgers are fourth in the National League. It's just
right?
divisional alignments. And
Sure.
remember the Dodgers were going to set the record for the most wins in a season this year.
I said it at the beginning of the year. I was like,
Everyone else did too, not just
I
you.
yeah, I
Everyone
was
except
like,
me, I believe.
I agree. I agree. You know what? If I remember correctly, you were saying that San Diego was a threat to take them out in the division. They're only two games back. They still
Yeah,
can get to that hill.
they still
I
can. I
mean,
don't think they will. I think the Dodgers will hold them off and win the division.
right.
But and going into the playoffs, Dodgers are not going to be some juggernaut that's just going to run through it. I, you know,
You know, I don't know. I every team has injuries. The Dodgers, I don't know if it's a training thing or whatever. They just have seemed to have an exorbitant amount of injuries. Now they're contemplating putting Shohei in the bullpen, which I believe we both were talking about earlier in the year. Do you think that's going to happen?
well, the things I was seeing is they want to move him to the outfield.
That too.
Now, why? I mean, his bat's still in the lineup. Is there some guy on their bench that they're so desperate to get into the lineup that they want to put that guy at the DH?
I guess. I mean
I
that
mean,
I who
but
obviously can't play the outfield, right? Are we talking like
yeah,
Muncie or somebody like that? I mean, I don't know who that is, right?
right. And I mean, to me, that just screams of desperation. If they're willing to take a guy he played a few games in the outfield for the Angels once, like 5 years ago,
Right.
but they're so desperate to get another bat in the lineup that they're going to put a guy in the outfield who's never played the outfield.
Sure.
And this is a guy who doesn't even actually play defense ever,
Right.
as opposed to, it's not like taking Max Muncy, who goes out there with his glove and say, dude, all right, take left field for today and let's just see how it rolls. At least he's playing some infield now and again.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it screams of desperation to me that they're trying to get another bat in the lineup.
Brian, Brian, you, as smart as you are, you're missing the classic example. This exact example worked so well earlier this year with Rafael Devers. I don't know what your problem could be. It's all going to go seamlessly. Nothing can happen putting him out there in the outfield for the first time in 5 years. Nothing. No injuries, no nothing. Everything will work out great, Brian. Don't worry.
Okay.
Third base, first base, right field. I don't know. We got Mookie Betts playing shortstop. Jesus Christ. All right. Also in the news was Clayton Kershaw has announced that this will be his final year in the major leagues. I'm glad we got that. That was a real shocker considering he was made the I forgot he was picked for the All-Star game as an all-timer pick or whatever Alzheimer pick, maybe it was a better quote. But some of the stats for Clayton, eh. I mean, obviously he's a Hall of Famer. He is an amazing pitcher, probably the best pitcher the Dodgers have had since Sandy Koufax or Don Drysdale. You start looking at the Cy Youngs, Clemens 7, Johnson 5, Maddox 4, Carlton 4, Clayton in a huge pile with number 3 and 3. He's got amazing stats. His win percentage 698. His record is 222 and 96, which in the live ball era, he's only one of two pitchers ever who had less than 100 career losses with over 150 wins. And I guess my question is, when we look at pitchers in the last 30 years and you're looking at Kershaw, how much of this is affected by playing in the National League where they got to face the pitcher until 2023?
Hmm. Uh, I don't think that's going to be considered when you're looking back like that because nobody thinks that about Greg Maddux.
Right. Okay.
You know
Good
what I
point.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, Nobody thinks that about Randy Johnson. I mean, the bulk of his career was, or he did time in both leagues, but nobody
Yeah.
says, he was better in the National League than he was in the American League. Even Clemens had a few years at the end there with the Astros in the National League.
Right.
So I don't think that'll be a big play. I Clayton Kershaw is probably, I'm going to say, a definite Hall of Famer and a definite should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If we can get into that's a whole nother story for me. But uh, there will be a handful of writers that don't vote for him on his first ballot because his postseason is not great. But three
Terrible.
Cy Youngs. Don't forget he also had an MVP,
Yep.
a tremendous ERA for
Absolutely.
a long, long career.
Absolutely.
And
His ERA was 2.54.
yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's National League or American League. That's pretty unheard of these days.
Absolutely.
So I think the guy's an all-timer, and I think he got screwed over. I think his numbers could actually be better if he hadn't been on such an analytics-driven team that pulled the plug on him many times at the later stages of his career when he could have got a few more innings. And I mean, the classic example is the 7 perfect innings, and they took him out of the
Right.
game.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. How you
so
doing?
I mean, I think if he was on a kind of a say in a situation where his team wasn't in contention every year, maybe every once in a while, good team, average team, middle of the road team, but they have that one stud in there, they're going to let him go 9 every time, and
Sure.
his stats are going to look even better. But
I'm
with
gonna
the
go.
Dodgers, they have a greater plethora of bullpen arms to rely on, and they're always looking at the pitch count, saying he's not going to go over this no matter what, stuff like that.
Right. They definitely are micromanaging. I'm gonna go over the WAR since they lowered the mound in '68, the war pitching war leaderboard, some surprising names here. Roger Clemens is at 138, which wow, okay. Greg Maddux is second at 104. There's a huge discrepancy between, I mean, I think Clemens had a longer career. He was at the top end longer, but man, that's a huge discrepancy. But let's go. Randy Johnson, 103. I'm not even going to ask you who you think number four is. It's Burt Bylevin at 96 for WAR. Who would have thought Mr. Curveball was going to be that high up? Then we got Pedro, Mike Mussina, Justin Verlander, your favorite pitcher of all time, Kurt Schilling, and he's at 80. Clayton's at 77. I guess my real thought is he is a great pitcher, but I don't put him in the top 3 or 4 in the last 30 years. And I don't know if it's on prejudiced against the Dodgers. Like in the last 30 years, I'm gonna put Maddox. I'm going to put Johnson. I'm putting Pedro. I'm probably going to put Pedro number one. There's the Boston bias, but whatever. And then I'm probably going to put Verlander, and I would probably put Clayton at 5 or 6. What about you?
Oh,
I know.
it's a hard one to if you're saying 30 years, you're really only getting the back half of Pedro and the back half of Clemens. You know what I mean? And you're getting
Yeah,
all of
you're right.
Kershaw, all of Verlander, all of Scherzer.
Right.
So
Sure.
those are tough things to discuss. I put Kershaw up there. I mean, I think he regular season stuff. I know playoffs matter to me. That's why I think Kurt Schilling is a no doubt Hall of Famer.
Right.
Okay. Uh, but regular season, Kershaw was a lock, dude. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
almost every time out for the Dodgers, he was a lock,
Oh, yeah.
and he still is now.
This year, 10 and
I mean,
2. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, not that wins matter.
I will say for the Dodger season, and I'm not the big Dodger fan. He had the biggest game this year. They were, I believe, on a 3 or 4 game losing streak, and they played San Diego. San Diego had all the momentum. Dodgers were faltering, and he put out a Friday night game where he shut down the Padres, and literally, I thought, changed the momentum for the entire season. They ended up winning that series against the Padres, and then took the lead in the division and just never looked back.
Yeah.
Um, I thought he's had a spectacular season. I think maybe I don't even know if he's eligible for the comeback player of the year or whatever nonsense. Now we're getting into award season and literally they give you an award system a season for having the cleanest uniform. Jesus Christ. I mean, they whatever all that is. All right, you got any other thoughts going into the heading into the home stretch for the playoffs?
Uh, uh, I'm As we said earlier in the week, my thoughts haven't changed. I'm still saying Toronto's the top team in the AL. You got to knock them off, and I really don't see anyone doing it. Not even Detroit. I think Detroit's kind of stumbling the second half of the season.
They are.
Maybe they're gonna pull it together if they get that first round bye, a couple days off. They get to set their rotation. Maybe that'll set them up good. Scoob will get a couple extra days rest before his next start. Whatever. They're going to need it because I think Toronto's kind of a wrecking machine right now. They're just cruising through everybody. I
Who do
think the
you who do
Yankees
you
are,
think is most vulnerable? Milwaukee at number 1 or Toronto at number 1?
I would say they're equally vulnerable from the standpoint of they're both kind of running away with their league,
Hmm.
but at the same time, we haven't seen what they're capable of in the postseason.
Right.
So, and I say that with Milwaukee because they are kind of a different team than last year. They're not the exact same team as last year. Last year's team got upset by the Mets,
Right.
but they got the Miz this year, and last year they were relying on a couple of rookies who now have some experience. They're a little bit more seasoned as players. So I think Milwaukee this year is going to be a little bit better than they were last year heading into this, having that experience under their belt.
Right.
But I mean, either one of them, I still just, you got to play the games. That's what I said about the Dodgers in the beginning of the year, why I wasn't buying in. You got to play the games. And those two teams are playing the games the best right now.
They are. Absolutely correct. Couldn't agree with you more. And they do what you have preached ever since I've known you is they do a better job than anybody else at putting the ball in play. And I understand this world we've got into with analytics and it's about the home run rate versus the strikeout rate. You have always preached put the ball in play because things happen. And I think these two teams really symbolize that.
Yeah, it's so key. And you see that every year when you get to the World Series that one of the teams there,
Hmm.
led the league in least strikeouts.
Right.
It's
Right.
stuff like that
Yeah.
actually still matters no matter how many, no matter what statistics you want to look at.
You
Hitting the
just
baseball still
blew.
matters.
What? You talking crazy, man. You talking crazy. All right, everybody. Please, that's it for today. Let's get to the weekend. Let's go Red Sox. Who we're playing Toronto. What are you predicting in Toronto?
Nothing good.
Okay. True Red Sox fan. God bless you.
They had a good run. I will say this about the Red Sox. One more thing. I got to watch that kid early when he had his first start in Oakland last week.
Right. Hmm.
Guy was great.
He was.
And the thing about this kid coming up is he's one of these kids who's not getting brought up just because he throws 98. He
Right.
actually seems like he knows how to pitch and
Right.
when to mix in his pitches and the curveball and the sweeper, whatever. But
Well, yeah.
and he threw I think 6 shutout innings in that first game. He was great, and he can bring the gas when he needs to. 95, 96.
Right.
And then his second start, also against the A's in Fenway, he's got 5 shutout innings,
Here we
5.1
go.
shutout innings, and
Hmm.
one guy gets on base. He's only at 80 pitches. Out comes the hook.
There you go, baby. Alex
Who did
Cora.
Cora? Who did Cora put in? I believe it was Weisert,
I
but
think so.
of course, he gives up 2 runs. Red Sox lose 2-1.
Of
What have I
course.
been
That's
saying
a
about Cora forever?
oh God, he's
He
the hook
always brings
master.
in he always brings in the wrong guy when he makes a pitching change mid-inning.
Yeah. You know, I'm worried what he's gonna do. I'm worried what he's gonna do with Chapman in the playoffs. I think Chapman's been riding the magic carpet all year. We've had a little chink in the armor, but it's been a spectacular year. I am sure somehow Cora will find a way to mess it up. Don't worry. Have faith, Red Sox fans. We got Cora. We don't have to worry about anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Francone ain't walking back in that dugout.
I wonder,
Yeah.
just speaking just as a Red Sox fan right now, I wonder how much of these decisions are, spur of the moment. This is what I'm going with. This is my gut. Bring in that guy. Give me the righty. Give me the lefty. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's got his pitching coach sitting next to him the whole game, and they're always talking. You can see it.
Sure.
And
Sure.
they're obviously deciding, let's get this guy up together, right? Get this guy up, this
Mm-hmm.
guy up. I'm going to this guy. I wonder how much back and forth there is with the pitching coach, thinking, now we should put this guy in. You know what I mean? And Cora's
Yeah.
overriding him, or if they're always on the same page. And then I also
Ah,
wonder this because it's been rumored in Red Soxville that Veritex is waiting in the wings. This guy knows pitching, dude. He was a catcher. I wonder how
yeah.
much of this he's sitting there as the third guy behind listening to the two of them, what
Right.
he's thinking.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
just thinking.
catchers. Yeah. I was surprised. this year that Veritek wasn't put in as the coach? Because he seems like the golden boy. He's a catcher. You know, we had St. Louis recently, we had Cleveland recently. They look for catchers to bring in to be the coach because they have a better understanding of what's going on with everything in the game. And I, I guess I'm asking if the Red Sox get bounced in the first round, do you think this will be the end for Cora?
I mean, I
He
think,
just signed an extension, right?
yeah, but managers and extensions are,
Yeah.
so what, right?
Right. Right.
But I mean, they do seem to think Cora's the golden child for some reason.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
There's
That's a
my deep
beautiful way to end
thoughts.
it. Yeah,
I
there's some
don't
deep
know.
thoughts because that is the perfect embodiment of Red Sox Nation. I don't know. What are they doing? I like for instance, as we're sputtering into the playoffs, I'm looking over at this guy in San Francisco and thinking, wow, maybe he'd be a really good guy in the three hole. Obviously, we've moved on from that, right? We don't need the Yankee killer. Last weekend, when the Yankees came in and handed us our ass, we could have used that guy in the three hole, but nah, don't worry about it. He's over in Frisco. We're going to save payroll. We're going to spend it in the offseason. Yeah, I'm waiting, holding
Yeah.
my breath for that one. Yeah, just saying.
Meanwhile,
Just saying.
meanwhile, if you ask Cora about 2026, he's probably going to say, "Oh, Tristan Costas is penciled in as our first baseman."
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't know who's going to play third because Bregman's going to leave, but don't worry about it. Yeah, we got it all figured out. Yeah, maybe you can put the glove back on. I don't know. Christ's sakes. Red Sox. Now you depress me for the rest of the day. All right, everybody, hit that like and subscribe button. Go ahead and leave some comments, and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.